I need to introduce my special guest tonight. I know we get loads and loads of guests every other week, but this really is a special guest. And before I introduce her, I just want to say, I remember meeting this girl in 2014 down in Kent. We were standing outside the hotel having a pint. She'd just done her getting started skills. And I think after she met me, she was like, oh my God, what have I got into? And she's still here. So she is 200 plus group leader, smidgen from senior group leader, because we're such good friends and we're working together on getting to that senior group leader. And I'm loving, you know, just working alongside this girl. Multi-holiday achiever. She's had the Hamper weekends, Henley. But what's really important is I know people call her a super mum, but we were having a chat earlier. She's just a mum. Nothing super about her, though I think she's super in a different way. She's just a mum when it comes to this business. So happy to have the wonderful, the beautiful, the amazing Hannah Grover.
Hi.
Hello.
I want to take you with me everywhere to introduce me like that.
I'll be I'll be there, won't I? Your little roadie.
Yeah.
Little roadie. Well, look, Hannah, thank you so much for coming on tonight, and I really appreciate that you're giving up your time at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. But when we spoke, and you know, I said I love getting really, really nice people, not necessarily always the best in the company and the top achievers, but really nice, genuine people just like us who are on this call, who are doing the business in just the night, you know, just the right way. Just the right calming way. And you said that you wanted to come on and talk about referrals. And what was really interesting is you said earlier on, like you got 265 customers without doing winner minis, neighbour letters. And it was exactly like my story. I think I got to need 200. In fact, I got to 250 customers and I never did winner minis or neighbour letters. Never. I did neighbour letters. Once I posted them and someone called me about their credit cards. And I did one winner mini and I got a customer, and that was it for the whole of those years. So how do you go and get your customers? Let's go through it.
Okay, so I'm not knocking winner minis or neighbour letters. If that's what you do, absolutely carry on. Like, you've got to do what works for you. But at the same time, you can't grow this business inside your comfort zone. So I think some people get quite comfortable in a winner mini stand and they think, oh, I can't ask for referrals because it makes me feel really uncomfortable. Well, if whatever makes you feel uncomfortable, whatever it is, you need to do it, and you need to constantly be moving outside, because you'll find, so I was the same, I started winning minis, I was really uncomfortable with it, and then I got comfortable with it, then I needed to change again. So whatever it is, you've always got to make sure you're feeling uncomfortable in this business. The minute you feel comfortable is the minute you'll stop growing. So that is definitely something I've learned along the way. So for me, I believe this business starts with network marketing is accessing people's lists. Direct selling is basically the company don't advertise and they pay us for access to our contacts. That's what this business model is. So my theory is when I go to see somebody, I am there to get access to their contacts. If I walk away then by being a customer, obviously even better. I know Stav says this the same. Our job is to show the videos, show the presentation. The rest of it is out of our hands. So I go there to show the presentation and to get access to that person's contacts, whether it is because they joined my team, so then I have access to their contacts through that, or they give me referrals, so then I have access to their contacts through that. And I always say, no matter what method of customer gathering or appointment gathering you're doing, you know, if you're going to give up 3 hours on a Saturday to stand on a winner mini stand, which is brilliant, and pay money and get those appointments, and you're going to go and sit in that appointment, you might as well maximise the time you're there by mastering referrals. Because if you can turn one appointment into maybe 3 to 5 other people that you can go and speak to, that's a much better use of your time than just getting in, doing the appointment, getting the customer or the team member going, yeah, and running away and having to start all over again. And what I found is when I'm on the referral train, as I call it, it's so much easier, because if I go and see, so I say I've gone to see Stav, I don't know Stav, and I've gone to see him, and he recommends me to his brother, that his brother is going to trust Stav, hopefully. He's going to trust Stav's opinion. He's going to trust his recommendation. So when I get into his brother's house, he's pretty much signed up. And I've got a few examples of this. You know, when you get someone who's really well known in the community, somebody recommended me to this lady called Shelley, and Shelley has recommended me to 5 or 6 other people. And each one of them, when I've walked into their house, and I said, oh, how do you know Shelley? And blah, blah, blah. And we get, you know, we build rapport and we get to know. And they've all said, when Shelley tells you to do something, you go and do it. Not because they're scared of her, but because she only recommends stuff that she really believes in and doesn't want to recommend the rubbish stuff. So if Shelley says, go down to Aldi, they've got this great bit of fillet steak in this week. You go to Aldi and you get the fillet steak because it's going to be top notch. So I've walked into these people's homes. They've signed up as Daffy Gold customers in about 45 minutes, and of course have referred me on because I've got there because I've been recommended there. So they think that's what they're going to do as well. So once you get on the referral train, it's so much easier because they know they're going to recommend on, but they've already bought into the company through their friends. So you're not having to build that level of trust and rapport as much as if you were going to go and see somebody you didn't know. So that's why I'm really, really passionate about everybody mastering referrals as soon as possible. Having said that, I didn't start properly asking for referrals until I had 100 personal customers. What I did was I've got some good friends and family, and they've got some good friends and family, and I just kind of said, you know, it's referrals, it's all built on recommendation. If you know of anybody, send me their way. And I kind of saw enough people early on that they naturally kind of sent me referrals, you know, over Facebook or via text message or whatever. And it was slow burn, but it happened. And I always go out of my way to look after my customers a little bit extra than normal as well. And that's done me a really good service in, like, people of my generation introducing me to their parents who might be a bit older, or grandparents, because they're the ones, they know they should switch because they're likely to be being ripped off, and they've not switched, but they don't want to because they're scared, because they don't know what they're doing. So because I've built a really great level of trust, you know, they're like, go and see Hannah, you can trust Hannah, I trust her, she'll look after you, she won't get you to do anything unless it's really good for you, and she'll come and look after you. And I switch their routers over and their SIM cards and little bits like that. It doesn't take me long at all, but it's because I've built that level of trust that I've got into this kind of other level of people. And then they'll go and refer me to their neighbours and their friends because I've looked after them, and they know they can trust me. So, you know, this really is about, when people refer you, they're not referring Utility Warehouse, they're referring you as a person. So you've got to make sure that you really build rapport, you really build up that level of trust with them, so that they would, you know, it would take a lot for me to send a stranger to my sister. So I would really have to believe in that person and trust them to recommend them on.
Brilliant.
And so this is all about making sure you're doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, not letting people down, all that sort of stuff that can kind of let trust collapse. It's really about them believing in you and recommending you onwards.
Right. So that's really good, because you've given us an insight into why people will refer you, because they buy into you. I'm sure you didn't know anything about going and setting up routers when you started, so guys, don't worry about that. I didn't either, but you learn.
I still don't. I just blag it.
You know, we got the basics. Now, so we know why we get referrals. You've given a real good insight there, and that is phenomenal. Now, you come to my house, okay? You get to the end of the presentation, and you're going to ask me for referrals now, right?
No.
No. Okay, so let's go for it.
Okay, so this is really important that you do this from the beginning of the presentation.
The guys, take notes on this, yeah? Get your pen.
Yeah.
We'll slow it down to take notes on some of this stuff.
I will. I'll try. I do speak really, really fast, but
Okay,
you know, if you're in Stav's team, you're used to it. So it's really important, if you're going to get names and numbers on the day, which I always do, and then I also get them kind of like later. So like today, I got a text from someone that I saw last week, for example. If you're going to get names and numbers on the day, it's important you bring up referrals at the beginning, because that's what this business is. So slide 3, when it first comes up about we've got 600,000 members grown by word of mouth. Okay. So at this point, I would say, now, the reason you've never heard of us, or whatever they said at the beginning. So I say, have you heard of Utility Warehouse? I've heard of them, but I don't know much about it. Whatever their answer is, So the reason you've never heard of us, or the reason you've heard of us but you don't know much about us, is because we don't do any advertising. So, you won't have seen us on the newspapers or the telly or anything like that. But the great thing is we save all that money and we pass it on to our members. But of course, we've still got to grow our business. So our whole business is grown on word of mouth recommendation, just like we recommend stuff every day. Now, the brilliant thing is you only recommend stuff when you really like it. So we make sure that everyone at head office puts the customers first so that you're happy, so that you recommend us on. Because if you're not happy, you're not going to recommend us. And then we reward our customers with either shopping vouchers or an extra income every time you recommend us on, because we rely on it so heavily. Okay, so in this bit, I'm talking all the time about recommending, how much we rely on it, that you're going to recommend us, that we're going to reward you for it, that we know you need to recommend us, that you're going to be so happy you're going to recommend us. I'm saying it all the time. And then I will get out my referral book. So I then say, well, let me just get out my really complicated referral system so you can see how it works. And this is my book that I've had since day one. In the front of it is my list. In the middle is my no for now list. And at the back is my referrals. So let me see, get that open so you can see it. Okay. So here's my very complicated referral system. And then I just show them and say, it's a list of names and numbers that I carry around with me in my book. And what happens is, at the end of the appointment, if you're happy with everything you've seen, I just pass my book over to the person that I'm with, and they fill it in with the names and numbers of the people that they think might like this. Because as we're going through the presentation, you're bound to think of a few people. Now, I won't speak to them until you've spoken to them, because we're not allowed to do cold calling, and I don't want to do cold calling. It's just not me at all. So I will give you some wording to use to speak to them. If they're happy to receive my call, great. If they're not, they get crossed out, just like those ones are there, and I make a point of showing them. They get crossed out and I will never speak to them. But the brilliant thing about this is when I do go and see them and they become customers, and I flick through my book, they get highlighted. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see it, Sal?
Yeah.
And then I flick through the whole book and show them all the highlights. And as I'm doing it, I just say, so that's how important the recommendations are to me. Because if this didn't happen, I wouldn't have a business.
Right.
So
Hannah,
that's how it works.
Stop you there a second. That is you do all of that on slide 3.
Yes.
Right, guys. So when we're doing a presentation, I know we've got to keep it simple and don't add anything extra that's on the slide. This is not an example of adding anything extra on the slide. This is talking about how she gets referrals. And I think this is brilliant. Okay, cool.
And that's it. And then I just put my book down. But the important thing is, I'm saying things like, so what happens is, at the end of the appointment, if you're happy with everything you've seen, I'll just pass over my book to you, and you can write down the names and numbers of the people that you are bound to think of as we go through the presentation. So I'm using language like, what happens is, I'm telling them that this is what's going to happen. And you can put the names and numbers of people that you've been thinking of, that you're bound to think of as we go through the presentation. So I'm telling them, as we go through the presentation, they're going to be thinking of people. And then I'm telling them they're going to be putting them in the book at the end.
Okay, brilliant.
And that's pretty much, I don't bring it up again until that slide comes up again at the end, unless they say, oh, so-and-so would like this. And I'll go, oh yeah, no, save that for the end. We'll put that in the book at the end. What you want to get to is the point where you go and pack away everything at the end, and you go to put your book away, and they say, oh, don't forget, I need to write in your book. So that's what you need to think of. That's the point you want to get to, where they know that they're going to be writing in your book. And I have had that happen at the beginning when I was really mastering this, where they've gone, oh, your little book, don't forget to let me write in your little book. So it's really important that if I have people come back to me in the team and say, oh, I just can't bring it up at the end, or they don't want to give me the names and numbers, it's because you're not setting it up at the beginning. And it doesn't take long, and it's explaining what the business is all about.
Yeah. So you said, I bring it up again, so the book is in front of them so they can see it the whole time. when you said you bring it up again at the end, what point are you talking about? Is this?
So that slide comes up again after the Which Awards slide. So that exact same slide comes up again. So I say, right, that's the customer side of things all wrapped up. And now this is where it gets really exciting. And you have to get excited to wake them up. So this is where it gets really exciting. So as I said at the beginning, it's all done on recommendation. And you have 2 ways that you can choose from that we reward you every time you recommend us on. So the first one is shopping vouchers. And then I explain how the shopping vouchers work. So most of you probably will know how it works. So I explain how the shopping vouchers is. And then I say, so for example, if you stick 5 names and numbers in my book today, and they all sign up as customers, that'll be for you £100 straight away in shopping vouchers, and then 50 quid just before Christmas every single year. So if you were to choose the shopping vouchers option, it's my mission to get your Christmas shopping paid for you by Utility Warehouse. And you kind of get a little laugh there. Yeah. The other option, because the shopping voucher option is if you want to send me into your friends and family's homes and introduce me to them. The other option is if you'd like to do the presentation yourself and I'll come along and help you, then you can choose an extra income instead and we'll pay you in cash. Obviously not physical cash, but it just gets a bit of a laugh. And people think, oh, money, big money straight away when you say that. So we'll pay you instead. And the next video explains a little bit about that. So I'll let Joanna tell you about it.
Okay, cool.
So basically what I'm setting up is you're either going to join as a customer and give me referrals, or you're going to join the team and earn the money that way. So they kind of haven't got an option. And I find that more people join the team this way because they're looking at it as, well, I could send her to do it, or I could just go and do it myself. Okay. And earn the income.
What I'm going to do, Hannah, sometime in the week, what we're going to do, we're going to have a chat, and I'm going to make a note of some of these phrases you're using, and I will put them out as phrases on our WhatsApp groups. And I'll send them to you as well, because I'm going to type them up, because it's all about the wording and the setting up in their mind that of something they're going to have to do, and it's so embedded that they're going to do it anyway. So I'm going to get those from you. So you get to that point, and then let's say they tell you now what they want to do. They want to be a customer or a partner. If they're a customer, if they're going to be a partner anyway, they want to be a customer first anyway. So become a customer. At what point do you then say, I don't want to be a partner? Mm-hmm. What point do you now stick that book under my nose again and say, right, off you go, Stab? How would you do that?
So I think it's really important when you ask that bit at the end, you've shown them how the money works, and then you say what suits you best, saving money, making money, or both. I find with that option of the shopping vouchers or the extra income, quite a lot of people say, I definitely want to be a customer. I'm not sure about the partner thing, actually. So no matter what they say, I would then say, okay, let's get you started as a customer. So not let's get you signed up. Never use that word, because I think people think they're just signing their life away. Okay, so let's get you started as a customer. Then you can see how easy it is. And then you can decide what you want to do about making money. So even if you've got people sitting on the fence and not sure at that point about joining the team, that's a really great little way so they can see how easy it is. Now, the thing is here, you've then got to make sure when you're getting them started as a customer and going through the Join the Club that you make it easy. Because I think this is the point where people talk people out of joining the team. I know this is about referrals, but let's face it, team building is the best option. Mm. So it's really important that you make the Join the Club bit really, really simple, and just have at the front of your mind all the time that this is basically this person who's sitting next to you, this is their training. That's the way I look at it. Even if they don't join the team that day, this is their first little training, and they're going to watch how easy it is. So keep that bit really, really simple.
Do you get them to fill in? Because I always turn the tablet and I always get them to type everything in, because they never get their email address wrong. They never get their name wrong. And they always say at the end, that was easy. And I say,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do sometimes, especially if they say, oh, I might be interested in being a partner. I do, because then, then they can genuinely see how easy it is, can't they?
Cool.
So we get them joined as a customer, right? That's you all done. You've got your customer number. Now, what do you think about joining the team? And if they're not a yes there and then, even if they say, I might do it in the future, I would still get referrals, because we all know if I might do in the future isn't going to be like the next day. You know, it's probably going to be a year or whatever. So you want, you know, or not at all. So I always get the referrals no matter what. Okay, so that's you done as a customer. What do you think about joining the team, making some money? Oh, I'm going to think about that. Okay, no worries. Whilst you're thinking about it, or if it's an outright no, I will let you fill in my little book. Is it all right if I use your toilet because I'm going on to another appointment whilst you fill in my book?
On. Spot on.
And then I go and have a little wee. Or if I don't need a little wee, I just go and wash my hands and the toilet for a little bit.
Totally. What a great tip. What a great tip. And I found that tip because I actually went to the toilet. If I want to go to the toilet. And when I came back, a couple that signed up said, that was a great trick you did there. And it wasn't, I actually went to the toilet and I learned from that.
I've had 2 cups of tea, I need a wee.
They think without you there, don't they? Especially if they're couples, they want to have a little chat, but they won't do it in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. And then so you come back and they filled in probably, most people do about 3 to 5 names. And now at this point, I don't push it. I never get them to go, oh, you should, who else do you know? Who else do you know? Because I just personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with people who do. I just don't feel comfortable doing it. I know we said about being uncomfortable all the time, but this I believe referral system is about them trusting you. And so you've got to be true to yourself. You've got to keep your integrity about you. And the minute they people can smell, like, if you're trying to be something or not, they can smell it a mile away. And so it's really important you just let them be as comfortable as possible. So most of the time, I get about 3 to 5 names and numbers. If they give me 10 or something, I would look at it and go, you know, that's potentially £3,500 there. Are you sure you don't want some more information about joining the business and doing it yourself? You know, because that is, if someone's got those sorts of numbers of people off the top of their heads, you know, they could really make some serious money there. If they are seriously thinking about joining the team, this is a great way of just getting them to make a decision, creating a bit of urgency. So, you know, I could say, look, I normally phone these referrals in a couple of days once you've spoken to them. So say it's Sunday today. Do you want me to give you a call on Tuesday and get a final decision about whether or not you want to do this yourself? So it just creates that little bit of urgency about it. And if they're a definite no, and you've got the referrals, you've got the 3 to 5 names, then it's just important that you tell them what to say, because this is the point where it can fall apart. So I'll say, okay, right, I'm just looking at my book. Right, Julie has given me 2 names here, her daughters. So that's awesome. Thank you, Julie. How soon do you think you'll be able to talk to Tina and Tanya? And she would say, oh, I'm seeing them tonight for dinner or whatever. So how soon? Really important, again, because that creates urgency. So whatever she says, okay, Tuesday, I'll speak to them by Tuesday, right. I will call you on Tuesday. And then I get my phone out and I put it in my diary, because you've spent all this time building this trust and rapport. So you've got to make sure you then follow up when you say you're going to follow up. So I will call you Tuesday. What is a good time to call you on Tuesday? 4 o'clock. Okay, great. I'll put it in my diary. I will call you 4 o'clock on Tuesday and make sure they're happy to receive my call. And then I will just write the names and numbers down for them of the people that they've recommended. And I'll just say, look, now I don't want you to explain loads of stuff to them, because obviously that's my job. So if you could just tell them that I've saved you some money, I'm really nice, I'm not pushy, it would only cost you a cup of tea, is it all right if she gives you a call? That's all you need to say, something along those lines. Ideally on the phone so you can get excited, rather than a text message. But the great thing about the referral train, when you're on the referral train, is they'll know exactly what to say to their referrals, because the person that they were referred by has said it to them too. So it's just important that you write those little bits down, phone them up when you said you're going to phone them up, and be prepared that probably, if they gave you 3 numbers, probably 1 will want to see you. So you want to really try and get sort of 5 to 6 numbers off them, ideally. But just be prepared for the fact that a couple of them won't want to see you. It's just the way it is. But you only need 1, and then you're on the referral train. And it's much, much easier from there. And that's it, really.
So a couple of questions.
Yeah.
I want to try and keep it brief, and then I want to come back to you. But some people are new. Some people haven't done referrals like you said till you got 100 customers.
Yeah.
If they get their book now, very quickly, what can they do? What can they do to start the referral book?
Yeah. So obviously we're going to have to kind of make it up a little bit without being like totally naughty, but just write the names and numbers of some customers that you've got already in your book, and write some names and numbers and scribble them out. So it's really important that they see some that are scribbled out, so they know that you're going to scribble them out if they don't want to see you and you're not going to speak to them before. Katie's just reminded me, she did hers with some winner mini forms that she had, so she just had some random contacts and she stuck them on there, and then scribble some out. Make sure you scribble some out. Make sure you highlight some that have become customers, so that you've got that kind of thing you can show them. You know, these people here, they didn't want to speak to me, so I crossed them out. These people became customers. And then once you've gone that referral train, it's really great. So I can say, oh no, so Julie, here's your name, and you were recommended by Shelley, and here's her name. So you can kind of go back and show it a little bit through that book, so they can see how it works. So that's a good way to start the referral book.
Cool, brilliant. Now I'm going to speak to you in the week. I'm actually seeing you in a couple of weeks because we're spending, I don't know if you're staying at the hotel, so we can catch up on a lot of stuff. But super mum, right? Let's put this myth, because I know that you love talking about this, because it really, people do come into this business, whether male or female, and they see someone who they perceive as doing really well, and they say super mum or absolute superstar. Just explain to people on here the real, where the work comes in and how simple it can be, because I think people want to know that.
Yeah, so we were talking earlier, weren't we? And I share this with my team, so my team on the call will know, and I share this all the time about the kind of truth behind this. And I think it's really important to know that when I started the business, I worked full time. So, you know, I really did fit this in 2 evenings a week and half a day at the weekend. I sacrificed to build this business. 5 years in now, very nearly senior group leader. Will and I are taking, my husband Will and I are taking the whole of August off. So, you know, it's just important that you have to make these sacrifices in order to, I was saying to Stav, last Monday, Will and Henry went to the beach with my whole family. It was a beautiful day and I worked. And I found that really, really tough. But it was one day that I went to work, and now I'm having 31 days off. And so this, I believe, it's all about making small sacrifices. So yes, I went to an appointment the other day. In the car, I drank a protein shake for my lunch because I didn't have time to eat with my family. But then I signed up a Daffy Girl customer and got some holiday points. So, you know, these Sunday night calls, for example, I know that 8:30 at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night isn't an ideal time to be sitting and listening into a skills training call. I know that I can see babies there and trying to go to bed. My son's running around being noisy. You know, you might have had to kick your family out if you've had them around for dinner. But it's half an hour. If you can just sacrifice that small amount of time to grow your business, it really does pay dividends. And I can't stress enough that I've literally just done 10 to 15 hours a week for 5 years, because I don't like the alternative. I don't like the idea of, you know, working for the rest of my life and never seeing my kid, or working in a traditional business and never being able to take time off, or, you know, Will having to go and commute all the time to pay so I can stay at home to be with Henry. So, you know, you've just got to think of your options, really. And all I would say to anybody is just please be here this time next year. Please do the things that we all tell you should do. Go to the events, go to the trainings, go on the skills calls, because in the grand scheme of things, this time is going to pass anyway. So you might as well just sacrifice a little bit of time to give it a go. And hopefully, you know, if you stick to the system, you can have everything you ever wanted to have. But you've just got to make those little sacrifices in the meantime. And believe me, it is worth it, isn't it?
It totally is. And
Mr.
like
Stay-at-home dad.
I know, like you said, I mean, I've only ever done 5 to 10 hours a week. I'm a bit more lazy. But those 5 to 10 hours is actual focus doing things, you know, the real activity stuff. It's not personal development. It's not, it is going to an op. You can stick that in as an hour of your time. But it is focused activity. It is contacting those people, you know, driving to those appointments, do that sort of stuff. And 10 hours is not a lot in a week when you break it down, is it? It's probably wasted TV time that I used to do before.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. I've just decided, what can I give up? If you really want to watch Love Island, and that's absolutely fine, then record it and get up and watch it at 5 o'clock in the morning and see how important it is to you then. There's so many little ways that you can get some extra time. And like Stav said about personal development, I call that my eat time. So extra activity time when you're doing something and you can be doing something else at the same time. So every time I'm in the car, I've got some personal development on. When I'm walking the dog, I will stick some headphones in and listen to some personal development. If I'm doing some housework, if I'm cooking dinner and Henry's busy, I will stick some personal development on. So there's loads of times when you can use your time. I mean, I could do a whole call on using time because that's my thing. But there's loads of things where you can, fit those little bits in the nooks and crannies, as they say.
Yeah, brilliant. Wow. Do you know what? I'm sure everyone will agree. We could sit here and we could question you on so many different things for so long. And I'm glad you didn't give up the business when you first, I think I was one of the first people you met out there. It was like, oh my God, who is this guy? Because I'm always excited and my hands move around. But I knew there was something about you anyway, just something about you was really special. And I'm so glad that, we're in this bubble together going for senior group leader. And thank you so much for the guys on the team. There's my team on here, there's Justine's team on there, I know there's your team on here, and it's so nice that people have taken the time to listen in to your experience and your expertise on referrals. Guys, I will get some of these quotes from Hannah in the week, and I'll put them on the WhatsApp groups. Thank you all for coming on. Thank you, Hannah. Really, really appreciate it. And,
Pleasure.
I don't know if I can return the favour at some point, but I would love to. But guys, I can't say thank you enough to Hannah. Get back to your family. Thank you so much on this Sunday evening. Love to you. And I will speak to you soon. And thank you everyone for coming on tonight. Hope you enjoyed the call. And remember, next week is for new people, the Fast Start New Starters Zoom. Same time next week, Sunday evening. Take care and have a fantastic week ahead. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you and bye. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Steph.